Hello all, this video is a bit larger than usual, but there's a lot to cover. So Ancestors comes out tomorrow, and I think that's absolutely great because I've run out of things to talk about the game. New gameplay vids from IGN and others have come out, and there are more commercials now, obviously. The only major problem I can foresee for the game's launch is it being on the Epic Games Store, which itself is riled in controversy. The developers may have had no choice in that Private Division is paying the bills, and most of their new games, like Borderlands 3, are on the Epic Games Store as well. But many people have been mentioning in my comment sections, on Twitter, Discord, and other social media, that they've already pre-ordered the game and can't wait for it. So we just have to wait a few days to see if the sales numbers, when or if they're released, show us the tail of the tape, so to speak. So while we wait, I thought that we may take a look at the latest videos, and also note that since this game is trying to reconnect us with our ape origins, we should do a little compare and contrasting between humans and apes. So the IGN footage opens up with the same beginning scene and jungle tutorial territory, say that 5 times fast, that we've seen millions of times before. However, one thing different than say when Patrice is playing it, is that there are so many guides popping up. I realize yes, they have to teach us something about the controls and what all the symbols mean, but it was way more than what I expected. But perhaps the game stops dropping hints after a while. And I'm definitely sure for all those wanting to play a real Discovery playthrough, you could most likely turn off all the hints on the options menu before you start the game. We see extensive use of the senses, hearing, smelling, contemplating life's meaning. And aside from that, we get to see a parent ape calming a small child in order to get it out of its hiding place and back to the troop. There is a circle in the middle, well actually it's 3 circles that overlap each other, that displays the energy, stamina, and life expectancy of the ape. And basically, you increase all those traits by not dying. By grooming a female, we learn that the player has made a mate. If only it were that easy in real life. Someday. And then our ape goes to sleep and whoa! Pregnant? How did you know so fast? Wait. Press B to give birth? Y for evolution? That was fast. Well, I guess that's a few more for the list. So it mentions real quick that having children around allows for the accumulation of neuronal energy, which I'm suspecting is going to be used to evolve certain traits. More children means more accumulation, which means we can't find a safe spot for the little hairballs. We're going to need to bring them with us all the time, increasing the prospect that they might become eagle cuisine. Also, we'll be able to stockpile items, which means we will have an inventory screen of some sorts. How much we can hold is questionable. I wonder where the ape stores it. On second thought, I actually don't want to think about that. We will be able to construct a nest, and I wonder how many things we'll be able to construct by the end of the game. Then the video goes on for more of the standard running, jumping, and climbing trees, picking up rocks, and eating fruit. But then the player brings the ape around a big tree, and then the screen mentions that a landmark has been discovered. So instead of having us memorize everything ourselves, the game is going to help us out a bit so we don't get lost in the world. Either way, those are all the major things from IGN. Gaming Riot also came out with a 30-minute video of gameplay. I'm not going to go through it all just because many of the features I've covered already, or it's material that all of us have seen by now. However, the player tries eating an eagle egg, which makes him sick. Perhaps we need to learn how to cook it or something. And a little later, while trying to jump towards another ape he saw in a tree, he totally missed and slid all the way down the trunk, to which the game gave him the prompt to apply the egg to the ape's body. A symbol then appeared, which was quite unclear to me at the time, but perhaps it was something about disinfectant or healing properties. Aside from the basic exploration, we see the player build a barrier out of branches. Perhaps this feature is meant to help keep out predators and create some sort of perimeter around your camp, which hopefully means that when we do move out of the tutorial level, there might not be set campsites or at least various campsites to choose from in the new territories. We might have to build a perimeter for our camp. So if we do get to choose, be sure to find a place that can be easily defended and has a source of food and water nearby. The launch trailer also showed more of the new various territories we'll encounter, from jungle and savanna to more arid places, and being attacked by wild dogs. But enough about the game, you came here for some history. Alright, you came here for the game, but come on, give me this. Ancestors THO is meant to connect us to our past evolutionary forerunners and learn to survive the way they did millions of years ago. Many of those traits are still with us, while others have been shed in the pursuit of evolution. So let's take a look at some of the comparisons and differences we can make about humans and other apes. There are several things we have in common with other apes, and I may not get to them all, but be sure to look at things like Jared Diamond's The Third Chimpanzee and other material for more in-depth information. One of the more obvious connections is the closeness of our DNA. Now, we share the same DNA with all living things, just in different combos. But amongst the apes, we are extremely close. There is roughly only about 1.2% difference in DNA between us and chimpanzees, 1.6% for us and gorillas, around 3% for orangutans, and around 7% or a little more for monkeys. So chimps are 98.8% human, or another way to look at it, we humans are 98.8% chimpanzee. Biologist Jared Diamond mentioned that if you placed a number of mute humans stripped naked in a habitat next to chimpanzees at the zoo, you would start immediately noticing how similar the body language is, and much more. Now, while we don't see apes wearing camo clothes, donning bright orange vests, and popping open cold ones, chimpanzees at least will go hunting. Gorillas and orangutans eat mostly fruit and veggies, and rarely eat anything more meaty than insects. Chimps, however, will form hunting parties, locate prey, coordinate a hunting strategy, making a monkey or two fall into a trap, and then club the little thing. They eat meat, and show skill in thought processes concerning planning and organization. Again, like humans, chimps aren't just territorial, but will conduct war in pursuit of new territory. Chimpanzee groups will challenge and fight each other to gain access to areas rich in resources such as food and water, or to kidnap other apes, mainly females, into another group. Sometimes, these groups will even fight each other in a civil war of sorts. The Gombe-Chimpanzee War is a prime example of groups dividing. A single large community of some 30-plus apes slowly started to split over a few years before violence finally erupted in 1974. All this was documented by Jane Goodall and her team. The larger Kasakela group killed most of the smaller Kahama faction over 4 years and forced the rest into their clan. While gaining new territory, they came into contact with a much larger party of chimpanzees on their new border. They also fought, but the Kasakela, now with barely just over 20 plus members, could not hold and gave up most of their new territory to the border rivals. If that wasn't all of it, adult fun is another feature. Yes, the oldest profession just got a whole lot older when many anthropologists concluded that it was possible that chimpanzees traded meat to do the dirty in the wild. And hilariously, in 2005, when capuchin monkeys were given little silver discs to act as money at Yale, the experiment called for the monkey to do a task in which they get a disc, which can be used to pay for grapes. Similar experiments have demonstrated that some monkeys even learned how to save money and spend it for better tasting rewards. But at Yale, by accident, the researchers noticed that some monkeys were exchanging the discs for pleasurable activities, in which the scientists promptly tried to stop. I mean, come on, they're locked in a cage, just let them have it. All apes are able to express and feel emotions. Many animals can, but like us, apes can feel happy, play practical jokes on each other, become jealous, and much more. Coco the gorilla is a prime example. Taught some sign language, scientists began to understand just how much an ape might think and feel like we do. Now, while there are some questions on just how much Coco was able to understand or express in terms of communication, and by the way, she scored an IQ test of around 70 to 90, it is clear that she was able to express emotions. She was famously given a few kittens over her lifetime after she asked for them, in which she displayed not only motherly care, but also playfulness. She displayed other qualities like sadness when one of the kittens had died, and she also visibly laughed when the late Robin Williams tickled her, and he even mentioned how a life-changing experience it was for him. We often try to look at apes as strangers, but they are very much close to us. There are differences, however, and while we may be apes ourselves, we do have our own distinctions. For one, we are much weaker in strength than other apes. Chimpanzees on average are 2 to 3 times stronger than most humans, orangutans 4 times stronger, and gorillas are a whopping 4 to 9 times stronger than us. We are essentially the brains of the outfit. We needed to think our way out of situations or into them. And while apes can demonstrate vast stretches of intelligence as well, humans are superior in matters of complex thought. Well, at least some of us anyway. Most hominids are party animals when it comes to bumping them uglies, and even some humans for that matter. But humans as a species are quite unique among our cousins, in that we actively desire to keep our reproductive behavior private when we're in the middle of it. Female chimps, on the other hand, can have multiple partners, one after the other, in front of most of the group. Walking on two legs all the time is another feature that we do that our ape brethren don't. It allows us not only to have both hands free and watch for danger, but we can also travel for long distances because we use less energy. Now, while we may not be as fast as many other animals, in terms of stamina, there are a few others that can outpace us in a long distance run. Some of us can no longer do that because we sit at home eating M&Ms like they're going out of business. But our human ancestors could track animals for days, who, trying with all their might to escape, would eventually tire and collapse, allowing us a less dangerous kill. We are less hairy, and that is primarily an adaptation to the warm and dry environments our species first encountered in Africa. Ice being locked up at the north meant there was much less fresh water for the rest of the world, making those parts very dry. So, we would travel for long distances, using less energy on our two legs instead of four, on the search for food and water. Having less hair meant that we could sweat, the body's original air conditioner. Heat is trapped in the moisture, and as it evaporates, we cool down. And while some humans have adapted to more colder climates and have since started growing more hair back, it still pales in comparison to our ape cousins. So, how many of these differences or likenesses will we see in the game? We don't know, but we'll soon find out. As for me, my computer can't play the game, so I'll not be able to give a playthrough myself and see what I can find out until December when it comes out for console. But I'll keep an eye on Ancestors from time to time until then. But thank you for watching, and thank you to all my amazing subscribers. Please follow me on Twitter or Discord, and consider lending your support to the channel through Patreon. Also, thank you for all those here for the first time. You guys are absolutely wonderful. If you like this video, please click that like button and subscribe for more content. I'm Eric, the LonePineWolfman, and remember gamers, never stop learning.